My name is Indigo Bennett, and at 34, I'm a top real estate broker here in New Orleans. It was Christmas Eve, and the old wooden house on the edge of the city reeked of gingerbread and that fake forced cheer. I was sitting alone on the corner sofa, mindlessly scrolling through a tax email regarding my $3.5 million Garden District mansion when my brother zeroed in on the screen. He straight up snatched the phone from me. "Sign it over to me now," he demanded. Mom and Dad immediately jumped into the fray. "That childhood illness means he deserves it," Mom insisted. I uttered a single sentence and the entire room went silent, like someone had slammed the mute button. Want to know the one sentence that left my whole family speechless on Christmas Eve? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss this twist. 3 days later, the harsh sunlight streamed through the red brick window of my French Quarter office, and my fingers trembled as I typed my grandfather's old password into the secure estate portal. The screen loaded at a snail's pace, each second feeling like an eternity. Finally, the file opened. Grandfather Harold Bennett's inheritance records from his own father. I scrolled past all the legal jargon until one line stopped me dead in my tracks. Cold. The Garden District mansion, valued at $3.5 million, was designated solely for the grandchild who cared for Harold in his final years. That was me. No co-owners, no shared trust, no loophole for anyone else. The clause was explicit, notarized decades ago, and updated every time Harold visited the lawyer after his 80th birthday. I leaned back in my leather chair, my heart racing faster than a Mardi Gras drumline. This discovery hit harder than any closing deal ever could. For 5 long years, I had automatically transferred $1,500 every month, totaling $90,000, labeled Support for Jet. Mom had insisted it was for ongoing therapy sessions, claiming the childhood asthma left lasting damage. Dad backed her up, saying it was the least I could do after building my career. I never questioned the line item because family came first, or so I thought. I pulled up the bank statements, cross-referencing dates with purchase alerts I had ignored for far too long. There it was, the same day I sent money for medical bills. Jet bought a first-class ticket to Las Vegas through some online travel site. Another transfer aligned with a luxury watch receipt. A Rolex Submariner, engraved with his initials, purchased at a high-end jeweler on the Strip. Then, a hotel suite at the Bellagio charged under his name for 4 nights, complete with room service tabs that exceeded $1,000. The evidence stacked up like a house of cards built on lies, each receipt time-stamped within hours of my wire transfer. My assistant, Gia Gwen, knocked once and poked her head in. "Everything okay? You look like you saw a ghost." I waved her off, too focused to explain. The portal still glowed on my screen, and I downloaded the will as a PDF, saving it to an encrypted folder labeled Legacy. Harold had warned me years ago that family greed could twist even the clearest intentions, but I never thought it would hit this close to home. He had flown me to Florida twice a year, making me promise to honor the terms without favoritism. I printed the key pages, the designation clause, the signature block, the notary seal. The machine whirred steadily, spitting out black and white proof. Gia lingered by the door, sensing the tension. "Need coffee or should I clear your schedule?" I shook my head, stacking the documents into a manila folder. Security first. I emailed the files to my personal drive and forwarded copies to Harold, adding a quick note. "We need to talk." My phone buzzed on the desk. Jet. The message popped up before I could swipe it away. "No deed transfer. I bring the whole family to your office tomorrow." I stared at the words, anger bubbling under my skin. He had no idea what he was walking into. The mansion wasn't just property. It was Harold's legacy, protected by ironclad terms drafted when Jet was still in diapers. I typed back the truth I had held since Christmas. "You sure you've read Grandpa's will?" The typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. No response yet. I stood and paced the hardwood floor, my heels clicking sharply against the silence. Gia stepped fully inside now, closing the door behind her. "Indigo, the quarterly reports are ready for signature, but if you need me to call security..." I cut her off with a raised hand. Not yet. First, I needed copies of everything. The will, the statements, the Vegas charges. I forwarded the bank alerts to a separate folder titled Discrepancies, organizing them by date. Each entry painted a clearer picture. Spa treatments, nightclub bottle service, even a poker tournament buy-in. Another buzz. Jet again. Tomorrow morning, I'll be there. I set the phone face down, exhaling slowly. The office AC hummed overhead, doing little to cool the fire building inside. Gia watched me carefully. Whatever this is, I've got your back. Just say the word. I nodded, appreciating the loyalty. Harold had chosen me for a reason. Reliability, discretion, commitment. Jet's demands were about to crash against reality, and I would be ready when they did. I slipped the printed will into my briefcase, locked the drawer, and prepared for whatever storm rolled in next. I canceled the transfer with one click, my heart pounding like it might burst. The screen flashed. Confirmation. No more automatic payments. I exhaled sharply, the weight lifting and crashing down at once. Silence lasted maybe 30 seconds before the storm hit. Dad's ringtone shattered it. I answered, putting him on speaker. "You're ending us," he roared, his words slurring with panic. "Jet can't survive without that money. Rent, food, everything." I stayed quiet, letting the tirade roll over me. He painted vivid pictures of eviction notices, empty fridges, a future where I alone thrived while they suffered. He repeated the same threats 3 times, his voice rising each cycle until I ended the call without a response. My phone exploded with alerts. Jet had uploaded a TikTok. I tapped play. He sat against a plain wall, his phone propped up on a stack of books, his face twisted in fake despair. My own sister, loaded with millions, just snatched our inheritance and left me broke, he said, his voice cracking on cue. Greedy sister. The view counter spun past 50,000 in minutes, likes and shares multiplying. Comments flooded in. What a monster. Family first. Expose her business. Strangers doxed my office address, tagged local news outlets, and demanded boycotts. One user posted my LinkedIn profile. Another shared a photo of the building entrance. I scrolled further, each line a fresh sting. Clients texted, confused, asking if I had seen the video. Partners asked if it was true. The narrative spread unchecked, painting me as the villain who hoarded wealth. A local influencer stitched the clip, adding commentary about toxic siblings in New Orleans. Views climbed to 200,000. I locked the screen, my pulse racing. A new notification, the office intercom buzzed, reception reporting angry calls pouring in. Gia rushed in, the door banging against the wall. 3 people are hammering the staff elevator, screaming your name. She leaned on the desk, catching her breath. Security's blocking them, but it's chaos down there. I moved to the window, peering through the blinds. Dad waved his arms wildly. Mom clutched his sleeve. Jet filmed on his phone. Onlookers held up devices, capturing every shout. Gia joined me. They're wrecking the lobby. Clients are recording everything. The lobby camera feed showed on my monitor. Dad kicked a potted plant, soil spilling across the marble. Mom pounded the reception desk, demanding access. Jet narrated live, zooming in on the security guards. Clients backed away, phones raised high. One couple canceled their appointment on the spot, citing the disturbance. Another filmed a statement, "Not doing business here anymore." I grabbed my office phone, dialing building management. "Escort them out now," I instructed. Gia monitored social media on her tablet. "The live streams are at 5,000 viewers," she reported. "Comments are brutal. Someone started a petition to shut us down." I nodded, focusing on damage control. I drafted emails to key clients, explaining a personal matter, and assuring them that professionalism remained intact. The security radio crackled. "Backup arriving." Dad's voice echoed up the stairwell, muffled but furious. Jet switched to Instagram, reposting the TikTok with captions urging followers to show up. #GrittySister trended locally. My inbox filled with hate mail, some threatening protests. Gia locked the office door. "We need a plan," she said. I reviewed the lobby feed again. Guards formed a line, guiding the trio toward the exit. Dad resisted, shoving a guard. Mom cried dramatically for the cameras. Jet kept filming, narrating every push. A news van pulled up outside. Someone tipped them off. The situation escalated beyond family drama into a public spectacle. Gia pulled up analytics. "Videos at 500,000 views," she whispered. "National tags now." I closed the blinds, blocking the chaos below. The office felt smaller, the walls closing in. Building management confirmed police were en route for trespassing. I prepared a statement, short and firm, ready for release if needed. Dad called again, and I let it ring, the voicemail filled with pleas and accusations. Jet messaged screenshots of trending charts. Mom sent crying emojis. I ignored them all, focusing on containment. Gia coordinated with PR, drafting responses to media inquiries that were already hitting the wire. Security updated. The trio had been removed, but Jet lingered outside, interviewing passers-by. The news crew set up lights. Clients rescheduled appointments, citing safety concerns. Revenue impact calculations ran in my head. Potential losses in the thousands. Gia handed me water. "Breathe," she said. The lobby quieted. The debris cleared. Police took statements from staff. I watched the feed as officers dispersed the crowd. Jet finally left, still live streaming his victory lap. The hashtag peaked, then slowed. Damage done, but contained for now. The glass doors shook under relentless pounding, and I stood frozen amid a crowd of clients. The lock clicked open from inside. Gia must have buzzed security too late. Jet burst through first. Phone held high, live streaming to an audience already in the thousands. "Everyone, meet the sister who stole our family mansion," he announced, sweeping the camera across the stunned faces. Mom and Dad charged in right behind him, their faces flushed with fury. Dad made a beeline for my desk, snatching the open listing agreement for a garden district property. "This is proof," he bellowed, brandishing the pages like a trophy. Mom grabbed a corner, tears flowing freely. "How could you betray your own blood?" she wailed. Clients gasped, some backing toward the walls. A young couple exchanging contracts dropped their pen, their eyes wide. Another investor paused mid-call, his phone still to his ear. Gia positioned herself between them and me. "You're trespassing. Leave immediately." Jet ignored her, zooming the lens on my face. "Tell the world why you cut us off." The live chat scrolled furiously. Fire emojis, demands for answers, calls to cancel me. Dad ripped the contract in half, letting the shreds flutter to the carpet. Mom collapsed into the nearest chair, sobbing loud enough for the mic to catch every hitch. I hit speed dial for building security. "Intruders in Suite 4, send the team now." Then 911. "Active trespass at French Quarter. Repeat. Officers needed urgent." Jet narrated over me. "She's calling the cops on her family." Clients formed a loose circle, phones raised high. One filmed vertically for TikTok, another horizontally for news tips. The investor ended his call. "Deal's off until this resolves," he muttered, gathering his briefcase. Security guards stormed in, 3 uniforms, radios crackling. "Hands off all items," the lead guard barked. Dad clutched the torn halves tighter. "This is our evidence." A guard pried the papers free, placing them in an evidence bag. Mom clung to Dad's sleeve, pleading with the camera. Jet panned to the guards. "Oppression in action, folks." Chat donations pinged, dollars rolling in for his cause. Sirens grew louder outside. 2 officers entered, their badges gleaming under the fluorescent lights. "Everyone freeze," the first commanded. Jet protested loudly. "We have rights," Mom wailed anew. Dad resisted removal, shoving a guard's shoulder. Clients whispered among themselves. One couple slipped out the side door. Another live tweeted the scene. The investor texted his agent, pulling funding. Officers separated the trio. One cuffed Dad briefly for non-compliance, then released him with a warning. Jet pocketed his phone, but kept narrating under his breath. Mom's mascara ran in black streaks. Guards escorted them toward the elevator. A client asked me directly, "Should we reschedule?" I nodded, my voice steady despite the tremor inside. The lobby camera feed on my secondary monitor showed the earlier lobby chaos merging with Jet's stream. Combined views topped 1.5 million. Comments demanded boycotts, shared my bio, tagged competitors. Gia locked the main door after the last officer left. "PR nightmare," she said, surveying the scattered papers. Cleanup began. Shreds swept, chairs righted, coffee spills wiped. Lost deals tallied. 3 closings postponed, 2 buyers gone. Revenue hit estimated at $50,000 minimum. I archived security footage, labeling clips for legal purposes. Officers requested formal statements from witnesses. One client volunteered. "I saw the whole thing. Happy to sign." Jet's stream replayed on mute, chat still raging. Mom's dramatic collapse looped in slow motion. Dad's torn contract became a meme. Building management emailed damage invoices. Broken vase, scuffed floors, emergency call-out fees. Gia coordinated with insurance, filing claims under disturbance coverage. An officer approached again. "We need your full report. This is viral nationwide." I detailed the intrusion, property damage, threats implied. He nodded, adding notes. "Press vans outside. Avoid comments for now," I agreed, drafting an internal memo to staff. "Business as usual, support available." Clients who stayed expressed sympathy, but also concern. One asked for reassurances on data security. Another requested a transfer to a different agent. Gia handled rescheduling, calming voices over the phone. The office hummed with recovery. Printers restarting. Phones rerouted. I reviewed the torn contract. Salvageable with scans. Officers radioed clearance. Family removed, no arrests. Jet lingered curbside, interviewing reporters. News choppers circled overhead. #GreedySister trended top 10. My inbox overflowed with hate mail, interview requests, partnership withdrawals. Gia filtered for urgent only. The lead officer returned with forms. "Sign here. Case number assigned." I penned my name, date, time. "We may need you for the report. This is all over the net already." A week later, my phone vibrated non-stop, each call slicing like a blade. I let unknown numbers roll to voicemail, but the official email from Orleans Parish Civil District Court demanded immediate review. Jet had filed a 40-page petition under, quote, "action for declaratory judgment and partition of immovable property," accusing me of fraudulent conversion of family patrimony. The core allegation: I manipulated Harold into excluding legitimate heirs, thereby unjustly enriching myself with the Garden District mansion, valued at $3.5 million. The relief sought: forced transfer to Jet as equitable co-owner, or compensatory damages of $1.75 million plus punitive sanctions. I forwarded the PDF to York Daniels with the subject line, "Urgent counter needed." He replied in under 2 minutes, "Conference room now." I drove to his Canal Street suite, 22nd floor, overlooking the Mississippi. York had already printed the complaint in triplicate, red flagging every falsehood. Classic air hunting playbook, he said, tapping the pages. 0 standing under Louisiana Succession Code Article 1493. No forced heirship for siblings over 23. I slid a sealed envelope across the mahogany table. Original bank ledgers for 60 consecutive months. Itemized Vegas casino credit line statements in Jet's name. Bellagio folio breakdowns. Rolex authenticity card with serial match. Airline e-tickets. All synchronized to my outgoing wires. York inserted the drive into his secure laptop. Pattern of deceit crystal clear, he murmured, exporting to encrypted cloud. Misrepresentation of medical necessity equals civil fraud. He opened the Office Intrusion live stream, downloaded from Jet's own channel before deletion. Exhibit A. Public demand under duress. York labeled it. Frame-by-frame notes captured Jet's exact words. Give me the deed or else. York drafted discovery demands. Jet's complete financials for 3 years. Social media monetization reports, travel logs. Witness affidavits from mom and dad. None attached to the original filing. York pulled the digitized will from Harold's estate vault, scanned in high resolution, notarized 2018, reaffirmed 2022, witnessed by 2 disinterested parties plus Harold's physician. The caregiving clause glowed on the screen. To my granddaughter Indigo Bennett, in consideration of companionship and assistance during my declining years, I bequeath the residence at 1234 Prytania Street in fee simple. No contingencies, no residuary to others. He filed an exception of no cause of action electronically at 3:17 p.m., attaching the will, bank records, and live stream transcript. Simultaneously, a peremptory exception of prescription. Jet's claim barred by lashes for waiting 5 years to object. York added a reconventional demand: fraud, abusive process, defamation per se via viral content, damages, actual, legal fees, lost business revenue, severe emotional distress, quantified by therapy invoices I began collecting. The NOLA Times reporter emailed at 4:02 p.m. Office invasion clip surpassed 5 million views, trending nationwide. Official statement? York crafted a controlled response. Comprehensive disclosure in Monday print edition, facts only. The reporter pushed. Allegations of elder manipulation? York. Unsupported fiction, evidence forthcoming. York subpoenaed Jet's platforms for ad revenue statements from monetized defamation. He requested an expedited hearing on preliminary injunction to halt further public statements. The court clerk confirmed filing stamps. Docket number assigned. York printed certified copies, sealing 1 set for Harold's records in Florida. Gia texted updates. 3 clients requested contract pauses. 2 demanded security assurances. York advised. Internal memo. Business continues. Legal matter personal. The reporter phoned directly at 5:45 p.m. clip, embedded on national sites. Your side? York, on speaker. Full expose Monday. They'll collapse under the weight of truth. The article hit the front page on Monday, and I held the paper with trembling hands. Bold headlines screamed, Jet Bennett scams sister out of $90,000. Mansion belongs to grandfather's will. Subheads detailed the fraud timeline. Vegas splurges, ironclad inheritance clause. Photos side by side. Jet's tearful live stream versus Harold's notarized signature. Byline credited the investigative team. A sidebar listed court docket numbers, exhibit timestamps, bank transfer logs, casino markers, hotel folios, watch serials. Dad's warehouse manager called him in at 8 a.m. sharp. HR handed him termination papers, citing conduct unbecoming, public disturbance, workplace disruption, negative media associating the company name. Security escorted him out, badge deactivated, locker cleared. By noon, coworkers whispered in the break room, avoiding eye contact. Former buddies deleted group chats, including him. The union representative confirmed no appeal policy violation. The final paycheck mailed, benefits lapsed end of the month. The job site blacklisted him after a background check flagged articles. Jet's social circle imploded overnight. High school pals unfollowed, posted stories, done with liars. College roommates blocked across platforms. Local influencer circles dropped collabs. Brand reps emailed contract breaches. Sponsorship revenue frozen pending review. Jet's verified checkmark vanished. Platform policy violation. Follower count dropped from 50,000 to under 10 in 48 hours. DMs flooded with refund demands from donation scams. Affiliate links deactivated. Ad partner sued for breach. Podcast invites rescinded. Event organizers banned him from panels. Mom appeared at my building lobby at 10:15 a.m., clutching crumpled tissues. The security feed showed her pacing, rehearsing pleas. Reception buzzed. Gia, family member demands entry. Says life or death. I watched the monitor. She looked gaunt, mascara smudged. Gia relayed firmly. Appointments only through attorney. Mom lingered 45 minutes. Left a note at the desk. Please, one conversation. Gia shredded it unread. The building log noted attempted entry twice more that week. Denied each time. Dorman reported her waiting outside the gate another afternoon. Police escorted her away for loitering. Grandpa Harold phoned from Florida at 6:30 p.m. Picked up the paper at the club. Whole room talking. His voice steady, proud. You honored what matters, Indigo. He coughed lightly. The mansion's legally yours. Now, what's the plan? 7 months later, the scorching July sun baked the Garden District, and I signed the donation deed for the mansion to the scholarship fund with a steady hand. The $3.5 million property transferred to the Harold Bennett Foundation, created specifically to honor Grandpa's lifelong commitment to education and integrity. Attorneys reviewed every clause. The notary stamped the final pages at 2:17 p.m. Escrow wired confirmation within minutes. The title recorded with the Orleans Parish Clerk by close of business. The foundation charter filed with the IRS for 501c3 status, tax-exempt approval pending 60 days. The board convened via secure video. 6 trustees, including 2 former Harold students now professors at Tulane and Loyola. They approved bylaws. Full-ride scholarships for first-generation college applicants from Louisiana public high schools. Priority to real estate and business majors. The first cycle funded 20 students. Applications opened online at midnight. A press release drafted. Legacy of caregiving turns into opportunity. Local stations picked up the story. The foundation website crashed from traffic within hours. Grandpa Harold arrived from Florida 3 days later, a single suitcase in tow. He toured the empty mansion one last time, fingering the banister he installed in 1985, pausing in the library where he taught me chess. Perfect send-off, he said. Movers boxed personal items, the rest auctioned for additional fund seed money. Proceeds topped $250,000. He settled into my downtown penthouse permanently, the guest suite renovated with wider doors, a riverview balcony, and a medical alert system. Mornings started with chicory coffee and the Times-Picayune. Evenings ended with jazz vinyl and stories of Depression-era New Orleans. Physical therapy, twice weekly. Blood pressure stable. Jet registered as Uber Eats. Courier, red insulated bag. Battered bicycle, neon safety vest. Shifts ran noon to midnight. Tips barely covered gas. Casino markers totaled $42,000. Collection agencies garnished 40% of earnings. The credit